Welcome on back, everybody, to Streaming with the Mouse, where today we are talking about episode 5 and 6 of Marvel Studios' Moon Knight. We didn't record separate episodes for these. We're going to put them all in one. It's going to be fine. We can't wait. We're going to have a nice top 7 for you. Sit back, relax. This is Streaming with the Mouse. Welcome on back, everybody, to episode 125 of Streaming with the Mouse. My name's Cam Ramos, and joining me, as always, is my good pal Cliff. Cliff, say hello to the nice people.
Hello, everyone. This feels right. This with Moon Knight, it feels like doing the last two episodes together makes sense because these last two really flowed together.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely were one piece of a story, which was really good. But definitely excited to talk about it. We are going to do top 7 of both episodes combined instead of the top 5 we've been doing. Before we got to that, we have some news, especially today's May 9th, and we got some really cool news today from Star Wars that I'm sure Cliff is going to share, as well as some other
I got lots of stuff to talk about. Well, first, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness came out this past weekend. Me, Cam, Colin, and other friends went out and had a blast. Colin's a party pooper, but you know what? It's okay.
He's going to hate this when he hears this.
He's going to hate this, and that's I put that in on purpose. I absolutely said this on purpose. It was very Raimi. It was a very Raimi-style superhero film. Personally, I really like that because I hold the nostalgia of the old Spider-Mans near and dear to my heart. Cam, what was your... I know you liked it. I know you really liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. No spoilers on this podcast, but the cameos were
no spoilers
perfect. What I love the most about this is, and I think I said this to you, Cliff, is Marvel Studios is no longer holding your hand, and I don't think they've been this entire Phase 4. They expect if you're watching the 30th whatever project this is in the MCU, that you know what the heck is happening. And what I loved is that you better have watched WandaVision to get what the heck is going on in this. Like I said, they don't hold your hand, they don't give you backstory. It's just like, hey, this happened in WandaVision, and here we go, basically. And I thought that was great.
And that honestly surprised me a little bit. Not the hand holding. I am fine with that at this point. Just watch and enjoy. A lot of these spin-offs anyway, a lot of these more recent Phase 4s have been like, you don't need to watch it for the most part. I'm very surprised you didn't need to really watch any What If.
Yeah, I was a little bit with that.
That surprised me. I kind of like that. But again, no spoilers. I said it and I keep saying it. I liked the most how this didn't really set up a ton. We, as Marvel fans, I think we get in the issue of what's next. What's next? Live in the moment. And that's what I really liked about this. We really lived in the moment with what... There is stuff that can come up, but I don't need every single movie to set up this ultra... every Avengers level threat adjustment where it can just be a setup for just Doctor Strange, or it can just be a setup for just Wanda, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I really liked. I liked for the first time, we really just kept it in the movie.
But I will say, so it doesn't set up a specific storyline, right? But it does set up a multiverse where you can go and explore and play around in that sandbox. So that was pretty exciting. But I have one gripe with it. It is a very minor gripe, but I'm not going to share it on this podcast because I don't want to spoil anything. But
yeah, we'll do maybe in like 2 or 3 weeks. We'll bring Colin on and just gang up on him. Other big news today: Ahsoka has officially started, I believe, filming. That's production what it made it seem like. Production. That probably means filming. They also showed the director chair. We don't know a whole lot about it. We pretty much just know Ahsoka, who's played by Rosario Dawson, is with Sabine Wren. We're assuming she's been cast. Who is hunting down Grand Admiral Thrawn, which hints at Ezra being it. Yeah. We got 0 casting on May the 4th. It's probably going to be a Star Wars Celebration casting.
Probably.
Very excited. I'm very excited for this. This has a lot of implications. Rebels has aged very well. I know you love Rebels.
I love Rebels.
Once I got past the animation style, I really loved Rebels. And the other thing, Star Wars, that we didn't get to talk about, the Kenobi trailer. The official Kenobi trailer. I'm shocked they gave us one. Wow. I think the Grand Inquisitor looked better. It looks like I am ready to be hurt. I am ready to be hurt and broken by this TV
Yeah,
show.
yeah, for sure.
And I still think the fifth brother looks a little off, but I am very happy that it looked like they did listen a little bit about the Grand Inquisitor, or it was just really awkward camera angles, which I
For
also
sure.
believe. Yeah. And anything you want to add about the Kenobi trailer?
I'm very excited for it. I was glad to see it come out on May 4th. I kind of assumed, I know you weren't really expecting something, but I was assuming we were going to get something on May 4th.
I was expecting something, nothing crazy.
But I was pumped for that.
That was
so
crazy.
Very
That
excited.
was crazy, though. So
yeah, we got that little. No, I like that we're still not seeing Vader, but we kind of see Vader in this, so I thought that was great. But yeah,
it was like the Squidward SpongeBob thing, where it's like they stick out the arm, they stick out the leg.
yeah,
But the last big thing, I'd say this probably. I mean, the Kenobi trailer was huge. This really broke Twitter, surprisingly. We now have the trio cast for the Disney Plus adaptation of Percy Jackson. We have Aryan Simhardi as Grover. He has appeared recently in the new Cheaper by the Dozen. That's on Disney Plus, as well as Leah Savage Jeffries as Annabeth. I'm very happy. I'm very excited. They joined Walker as the new big three. They've done their press photos, and filming starts in 2.5 weeks.
yeah.
I believe it starts June 4th, which is insane. So I'm very happy with that. I know you've only read The Lightning Thief.
Mm-hmm.
So you do not have the emotional commitment to them the way I grew up with it. I'm very excited. Rick was very happy. You could see the picture of him on Twitter of him with the three of them, and he looked like he had the biggest like dad grin face you could ever see, and you could tell that like he was looking at this like these are the kids that I have wanted to play this. So
and I'm glad that
happy.
they're like actually young kids. They can like grow into the role, kind of like the Harry Potter kids.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw the Percy Jackson movies. I don't even know how many. There's what, 2 or 3, I think.
There are two.
Yeah.
The first one,
but I know
fine.
both those kids look like they were adults.
One is horrible because they were adults.
Right. So it's nice that it's actually like kids playing to the age groups, which is nice.
They were adults. So yes, this is the correct adaptation,
which is good.
The best adaptation is an age appropriate adaptation. So it was a big news week. But with us, we felt like it was the Stephen Strange, the
Stephen Grant.
The Stephen Grant, like we like went in and then here we are on May 9th.
Yes.
So here we are, top 7. Are you
top
ready?
7.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Do you want to go first or me?
You can go first this time. Let's switch it up. Let's have a little fun with this.
So again, top 7 favorite moments, characters, whatever it is, from episode 5 of Moon Knight Asylum and episode 6, Gods and Monsters. My number 7 is coming from episode 6, the finale, season finale, we're going to call it now, is the Mark and Steven team up fighting style. I like how it kind of reminded me of Falcon, where like Falcon would switch from like being the Falcon to like Captain America, so like basically using the wings versus like Steve Rogers fighting style, in its own unique way. And I really like that Steven and Mark were able to use their different fighting styles and Moon Knight costumes, and Steven be like, "Mark, you got this one now." And then obviously we have a third character, which I'm sure we'll talk about too, because his fighting style, while we don't see it, is very deadly. So I really like that the switching back and forth of the costumes to do certain things, I thought was really great.
Yeah, I actually didn't even put that on there. I can't believe something overshadowed those two fighting that is a lot higher on the list.
Sure.
But the fighting was incredible. I love how they switched back and forth. I'm really upset. Well, we'll talk about it later because that's on my list also. But my number 7, I really loved the gods' designs.
Yeah.
I thought Amit looked incredible. I mean, Khonshu looked terrifying and cool at the same time. But I also I'm surprised how much I liked, is it Taweret? Is that the hippo?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And it's just, they did such a good job, because like Egyptian mythology is weird. Like Greek mythology, all the adaptations are human. They're in human form. Sometimes Zeus takes the shape of something to do, look, this is a PG podcast. But they really nudged into the weird.
Yeah.
And I honestly wish we saw more of the gods other than just their avatars, but they're not on the earthly plane. But I thought Amit looked really good, though. It was also cool to see the Kong fight.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really, really good. I didn't have that one, but now think about it, like that's something I probably would have put it if I like thought a little bit more about
That's why we got
my
7.
list.
That's why we
Yes.
have 7. We cover all the ground together.
My number 6 comes from the penultimate episode, episode 5, called Asylum, and it's the concept of the afterlife slash like the the asylum itself. So the asylum isn't really an asylum. It's basically the Egyptian version of purgatory where Mark and Steven are able to explore their past together. I thought that was such a cool way to bring in that asylum aspect from the comics, but tie it in into this thing. And I like the whole idea of like the hearts having to balance to get to the field of reeds. The fact that we get a new ancestral plane after we saw one of Black Panther, I thought was really special and really cool. But I liked the idea of the asylum. Okay, Harrow isn't actually a doctor. Layla's not actually a patient. This is just your mind's way of conceptualizing all of this. Like for me, it might be Disney World. For Mark and Steven, it's an asylum kind of
Yours
thing. So I thought that
definitely
was
is.
really,
Yours definitely is Disney World.
it definitely is. But it's a really cool way to bring that all in together, from the comic aspect and the show aspect. So I love that concept.
Yes. Give me 2 seconds. I'm fact checking myself. Yes, okay. I fact checked myself, and also you bring up a really good point of the ancestral plane of Black Panther. I'm just pretending I didn't just spend a few seconds pandering off. Bast, the Panther goddess, is an Egyptian god.
Oh,
So
cool.
the ancestral plane that we saw, it's the same one, just in a different area. There's a different location for the Black Panthers to go when they pass on. So someone made that point. I forget who it was, but I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense because like that was the gods they worshipped.
Right.
So it was cool. So Bast, we actually saw this ancestral plane, the exact one, before even being in Moon Knight.
Right.
Which I'm glad you brought that up because I would have completely forgot that really fun fact. So it's my turn. My number 6. Do I want to go to I had the ancestral plane, but I'll talk about the ancestral plane. I was very like surprised with where Mark ended up. Like all he wanted was just peace and quiet, just endless fields of quiet and relaxing. And it does bring up the point of like, where would you go? Yours is good. Yours is perfect. Yours
Yeah,
would be
100% Disney World.
an empty Disney World where there's no lines, there's no anything. I have no clue what mine would be. Peace and quiet would be nice though. So who knows? But I liked the concept on it. I think they did a really good job in the show handling very tough topics. And
for sure.
There's a really important one that we'll be talking about. I'm guessing both of us will be talking about soon.
For sure. Can I be a pain in the butt and combine my 4 and 5?
Oh God, fine.
Okay.
You can be a pain in the butt.
My 4 is Steven's sacrifice to save Mark, and then my 5 is Mark saving Steven from the sands. So I'm just going to combine those, but I thought that was awesome. Steven saves Mark from getting pulled over the side of the Talwet's boat to save him, but also sacrificing himself, and that's the final way for the balance. And then I like that Mark, because I was a little nervous, like, oh crap, like how are they going to do this? Like, okay, you're just getting rid of one of his personalities, but like he was a beloved character. Mark goes back in to save him so they can work together, and I just like that whole aspect where Mark just wanted, like you said, he wanted that peace and quiet. So that's like all the voices in his heads. As far as he knows, when Steven's gone, it's quiet. The voices are gone, but he misses that, so he has to go back and save Steven, and he wants to go back to save Steven because they are a part of that one being of that body, basically. So I thought that was really cool. So that's why 4 and 5 for me are combined.
That means I have to go back to back.
Yeah, if you want, you can go 5-4, whatever you want to do.
I have to go 5-4. That is a very good one. And in a second, my number 5 is holding off Jake Lockley. I am
pulling it off. Is that what you said?
Holding him off until when we saw him. I don't think Mark really knows Jake exists. Someone brought up we know that Mark knew Steven existed. We know that. At least that's how I saw it. Like he knew that he made Steven to handle it. Someone brought up a point on Reddit that Mark doesn't even know Jake exists because Jake is the one that really dealt with the mom. that
I agree.
dealt with the
Yep.
awfulness. And Mark won't remember that because he doesn't want to remember that.
Yeah,
That's
like
why Jake doesn't exist. That's why Jake is not known to either of them.
Mark is like the body basically, and
Yes.
then Steven kept Mark safe, but Jake was the one taking the abuse.
Yes, exactly. So that's the way I see it. And someone said Jake Lockley is not bad. Jake Lockley is still with Khonshu to protect Mark. And I liked that.
I think Conchu is using Jake.
I don't think Khonshu would have ever let them go if the Jake wasn't there to agree to it.
Correct, yeah, it's
So
Conchu being
it's
Conchu.
again Jake thinking he is protecting Mark by Mark not knowing. So that's
Maybe,
what
yeah.
I mean, season 2's up in the air. Disney Plus, other country Disney Plus accounts have been accidentally saying season instead of series. And then supposedly Kevin Feige, who I have some gripes with Kevin Feige these past couple days. I know in Kevin Feige we trust. But Kevin Feige doesn't want the traditional season 2s, which I think is stupid. Stop trying to rewrite the wheel. You've been writing the same 10 Marvel movies for the past decade. So I am interested to see where his story goes,
Yeah.
and Jake's motives.
So that was your 5?
That was my now on my 4. It is the balance between Mark and Steven, and because they always should have had it. I think it was really funny that Steven ended up being the one that was created to be brave, because that's nothing Steven was the whole time.
Right.
Like he was always just kind of like, oh yeah, just pandering through life. But I'm glad they came together, and that does go into the fight scene where they finally found a balance to be the same together and work.
Well, it's that recognition too, like, hey, I know I can do this because you can do it, and we're
Exactly.
the same kind of thing. So I like that. That was like a good line kind of thing.
Exactly. So you touched well on that.
Yeah.
So that was my 4. So you're 3. We are in the home stretch.
My number 3 was the Jake Lockley end credit reveal.
It makes sense.
When Harrow was getting taken out of the real asylum in Chicago. I thought it was going to be Roro. I thought it was going to be the brother. But then as it was happening, I was like, oh my god, no, it's Jake, which makes sense because Khonshu just wouldn't let them free. Khonshu has a back plan. Like, I remember, like, episode 1, Khonshu's like, oh, it's the week 1. So it's not Mark versus Steven, it's that there's a Mark, a Steven, and a Jake. So I was like, nope, this is definitely Jake. So then when you get that reveal of the rear view mirror and you see Oscar Isaac's eyes and he turns around and just shoots Harrow point blank while Khonshu's in the backseat at limo with them, that was such a cool end credit scene. Excited that they did bring in Jake. I thought they were going to bring him in the episode, so like that's why I think that helped my brain switch from like, oh, it's Roro to no, it has to be Jake. Like they didn't bring him into the finale besides Mark/Steven not knowing what the heck happened and Layla being like, what the heck. I'm interested to see what his Moon Knight suit looks like. Like obviously Mark has a different interpretation than Steven, so I'm wondering if Mark and Jake's are the same because like Steven has, or Mark is like about to pass out and about to die, and so is Layla, and all of a sudden he does like that like flashing eye thing. He switches into who we assume is Jake, and everyone else is dead and he's saved kind of thing. So I'm wondering if like they have the same costume because Layla's like, what was that kind of thing? But like I think she would mention like that was not your suit. Like what just happened?
That was my first thought. I'm like, I think Jake has the same suit as Mark because he's meant to be Mark not being Mark.
Right.
That's
which is shocking because of the toy possibilities.
I think once they know Jake exists, he'll get his own suit. That's kind of how I see it. That's how I see it.
Yeah. So what's your 3?
My number three is Layla. Because what a badass.
Yeah.
The suit, it was very Falcon Light, but in a different way. And like the way she handled it, the way we like to what it told her, like, oh, I've talked to your dad, he would be so proud. Like she got a lot of closure that she needed while also becoming a superhero to a non-dickish god. Well, it's a goddess. And what a cool What a cool suit. People were wondering like why wings? Why does she have wings when her idol is a hippo? It's because wings on like goddesses back in the day in Egypt meant like witchcraft, meant sorcery. So even if their animal wasn't that, they could. It means they had magic powers. Um, she moved really well with it. I really liked the movement of the suit because it was a little bit
Diana
less.
Prince only wishes that she could
I
pull that
know.
costume.
Seriously, that was a great meme. And yeah, it just the whole sequence I really liked. I of course representation is very important, and there were people like there was some Egyptian directors and like blue check marks that were saying like talking about how like their daughters like didn't like their hair that curly and everything, and like finally Layla gives them this look. Finally,
Yeah.
like someone like me, and I always love seeing that because it's always like the nice feel good stories because it does matter. And I mean, she looks badass, so
Yeah.
very cool.
Well, that goes into my number two, which
Here
is
we
the
go.
Scarlet Scarab. So obviously, I love the wing. After I figured out that's what her name is, like I love the wings because it reminds me of the scarab, and that's what her dad was like always referring to her, kind of thing. Um, she looked great. She was powerful. She was an absolute badass. I cannot wait for more Layla in season 2. If we get her, I'm assuming we are. You can't have this great of a character and just not include her in future projects. The representation aspect was obviously great. I like that they actually called it out, like, are you an Egyptian superhero? And she goes, yeah, I am, kind of thing. And she accepts that. So I'm interested to see if she actually will be Tawet's like champion, because she was really fighting the whole time of like, no, this is just temporary. I'm wondering if they'll actually like, nope, let's do this kind of thing. I thought that scene also with her accepting being Tawet's temporary avatar, where Tawet was like in her body, and like it's kind of how like Mark was talking through, or Conchu was talking through Mark. I want to say episode 3 maybe. The episode that Conchu gets locked up in that totem.
Yep.
But really really cool stuff. Everything about it. Also, this is gonna be an honorable mention just because I'm on Tawet right now. Tawet going through those dead bodies and animating them to talk to Layla.
That was fun.
Creepy, very metal. That was cool.
Very, very metal for a fertility goddess.
But that's my
Yeah,
number 2, Scarlet Scarab.
very yes. My number two is Harrow's End because there was a lot of like I was very excited for Ethan Hawke to be here to be a part of Marvel because he's a great actor. Um, and it was the perfect conclusion to his story because
Yeah,
Harrow is not a huge villain in the comics, but he's a good first villain for a superhero trying to figure out their way. Um, and like him, he gets the worst punishment of all. He literally gets a goddess trapped inside his head, and then meets a bullet to the head fate. And he just put on an incredible performance all the entire show, and I wish he was staying, but it you want to leave him wanting more.
yeah, he
And
was
I
a
think
great
and I think
one
that
season
was
villain
perfect for it. Exactly,
for
he's a
sure.
perfect one season villain or one
Yeah,
movie, whatever we're considering it as.
yeah. Ethan Hawke, shout out to him. He's one of the better villains I think in Phase 4 for sure.
Well, definitely the most thought out.
Yeah, a good storyline, good bat, all that stuff. But I'm assuming we have the same number 1. I would have to guess.
I would hope so. If not, I
Um,
might have to just cut you off.
it's definitely going to be different wording, I would guess. But my wording that I wrote is the reveal of Steven and how he came to be, kind of thing. So the fact that he was protecting Mark from being physically abused from his mom after his mom blamed him for his brother's death. Everything about that whole situation, and like Steven not really recognizing it, because again Steven was this character that Mark made up, so Steven didn't recognize the bad things that were happening, and like Mark Steven saved Mark countless times throughout his childhood, up until Mark left. So it makes sense that he had kind of control over it, because he had control over the Steven personality when I'm assuming when he wasn't being abused by his mom, when he ran away at one point. But all of that was just so powerful, so freaking powerful, man.
Mine like merges into two of them, or maybe like a campaign thing at the end. Yes, the way they handled it, I'm very like like good on Disney for actually showing it. They actually showed the issue. They actually did it, which I'm shocked they did, and I'm glad they did because it is an issue. And it shows how it can completely mess up someone.
Yeah, trauma's
Um,
real.
Oscar Isaac acted his pants off with Oscar Isaac, and the theory that hurt the most is that Khonshu killed Mark's brother to send him on this path,
Oh, interested.
to get him to be Steven and Jake. And that is, yeah. I love they did such a good way of showing it to balance the scales and let Mark actually confront his trauma, because he
Yeah,
does, and
and
it
this
makes
is
him better for it.
this is the second time I think we've really seen trauma being explored in the MCU. Obviously, we did in WandaVision in their penultimate episode 2, kind of the same thing where you're going back to flashbacks of parts of Wanda's life. You're doing the same thing here with Mark slash Steven's life. And that was my favorite episode of WandaVision. It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen in the MCU in general. So this also added that to that too. But that was my number one. So it's your number one.
And now my campaigning, this performance by Oscar Isaac was the best Marvel acting performance, like pure acting wise, not like perfect for character. Best acting performance to Oscar Isaac. Like we talked about how great oh, why am I forgetting her name?
Lizzie?
Elizabeth Olsen was as Wanda. This and WandaVision, this knocked it out of the park. This this should be a award-winning performance. This is
For
like,
sure.
oh my god, he
Yeah.
is an incredible actor. And I'm even more upset because they supposedly had a big, like, drawn out thing where Mark meets his mom in the afterlife and they hash it out.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
And the director, it was either the director or writer, was like, "Oh, I missed this scene. It literally was like an Oscar-worthy performance." And I'm like, "How dare you take that from us? How dare you? First you take Miss Marvel's powers, Kevin Feige. Now you take this. How dare you?" But no.
Do you have
this
any
show-
honorable mentions, Cliff?
My honorable that
I have one.
my honorable mention that was not there. I kind of wish they kept in whatever the Eternals thing was going to be. I would have loved to see a little connection to, even if it was just a mention of the Eternals. I would have liked that. But other than that,
I
it's
like
fine.
that this was very separate.
Well, I mean, like, even if they just had like I would have just loved to see Steven react to seeing the celestial head in the water.
Yeah.
Just something
That
like
would be funny.
just to tie it in, just slightly.
My honorable mention is just the Steven getting his powers scene, basically him dying at the foot of the Khonshu temple, and Khonshu basically not blackmailing him, but conniving his way to be like, "Yep, come on, save yourself, buddy. I can be here. You can be my avatar. We're gonna do vengeance, all the stuff. You're gonna protect her of the night." I love that whole scene because it's a scene that happens in the comics. I like seeing that stuff come to life in the live action, so that was great. So that was my honorable mention. But Cliff, that's our list. That's Moon Knight. Next we'll be talking about Miss Marvel, but that doesn't come out for a couple weeks. We'll try to get an episode. Maybe we'll do a Doctor Strange episode before that comes out. But that'll be the next time. No. Hold on. I'm dumb. Kenobi is the first thing.
Is that before Miss Marvel?
Yeah, is Miss Marvel in June?
I'm fact checking. June 8th. Yes, Kenobi.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's Kenobi. Sorry. So we get Kenobi in a little over 2 weeks from today as the time of this recording. So in between then, we'll get a little Doctor Strange mini-sode recap. We'll see if Colin can come in for that, or somebody else. But definitely have another voice on there, just a bonus episode. But Cliff, where can they find you if they want to talk about Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, all that fun stuff?
Find me at CP Robinson 81.
And you can find me at CamRamos95. You can find the podcast at Stream the Mouse on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Streaming with the Mouse. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts, and our YouTube channel. Just search for Stream with the Mouse podcast. Be sure to rate, review, 5-star, subscribe, all the above to those channels, so we get more listeners in on this podcast. And also be sure to check out our website, cprob.com/Stream the Mouse. My name's Cam Ramos, and thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Summon the suit.
Bye, guys.